It's springtime, and the Polaris is not cleaning the pool very well. It keeps stopping, and come back. There's a stainless steel screen right here at the wall, and it keeps plugging up on me within just a few hours. So it's supposed to be clean water that's come through the filter. And sometimes the most difficult thing about a pool problem is trying to determine what the problem is. So my problem started, I thought I had a Polaris problem, but it was actually because of a problem inside my pool filter itself. So this video shows you how I fixed the problem, how I repaired it and made it where it will never cause a problem again. The Polaris pump is fed from the discharge from the filter that goes back to the pool. So that water should always be clean. So the problem is not the Polaris, but I believe it's in this Hayward filter. I think the diffuser has come loose at the top. The filter is a Hayward model number S244T. I just want to show you how simple this really is. All this is just a sand filter. It has a pipe coming in that brings the water in, and it goes through the sand. Then it comes out on this pipe and goes back to the pool. When it comes in from the pool, it's coming into the circulation pump. It's sucked in and it has a filter right here just to catch the big pieces and stuff that might not make it through the veins on the pump. It's pumped in, it goes in through the diffuser and all, and goes through the sand, comes back out through the sand, comes out and goes down to the pool. And there's also a branch from here that comes off and goes straight into the Polaris pump if you have a Polaris. So the discharge, or the output from the filter, comes out this pipe, goes back down, and goes straight back to the pool, where it has a couple of different ports where it blows the water back into the pool. Now if you have a Polaris, it's also going to take some water off of this before it goes back to the pool, because now this water has already been filtered, it's already gone through the sand, so it's supposed to be clean. It comes down and goes into the center, or the input, of the Polaris pump, and the output from the Polaris pump goes back to the pool as well, but it has its own pipe, so it only comes out in one location, and that's where the Polaris hose is connected to at the wall on inside the pool. The Polaris hose connects to a special connector right on the side of the pool, which is the pipe that comes directly from the Polaris pump. Let me disconnect it here. Wow. This is a pressure relieving valve to limit the amount of pressure actually going to the Polaris. This is the screen filter I was telling you about in there. See how clean that is? I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's supposed to catch anything that might be big enough to plug up one of the little jets on the Polaris itself. This just easily plugs into the wall. You have to make sure you push it all the way in. It has a J latch in there, so you just push it in, turn it, and pull it back out till it catches in here, and that's all. Very simple. So the first thing I do is I disconnect my pipes, loosen the connections so I can pull them apart, and the drain connection is just pushed together. That's all, everything is loose. So now I'm ready to take the top off. All the screws and nuts on this are stainless steel. So if you lose one, make sure you replace it with stainless steel, otherwise it will rust and corrode. All right, that's that part. I want to take this part off because if the diffuser has come loose, there's a stud in there that holds the diffuser in place. I want to take that stud out, drill all the way through it, and put a stainless steel a lock washer and nut on there to make sure it can never come loose again. I'll take the locking collar off. There. All right. Here you can see the little stud I was talking about. It's stripped out, and the diffuser is not all the way up. It has dropped down. The diffuser stops a lot of the agitation in this area and keeps the trash on the top side of the sand so that when you do a backwash it will come out. But when the diffuser drops down like this one has, they should be connected together and come out as one piece. But when the diffuser is dropped down like it has, it allows all this trash that's on the top side just to keep circulating, and a lot of it fits through the tight area here and goes right back through the discharge. That's why the screen on the Polaris was plugging up so often. It was not a Polaris problem, it was a filter problem. Now I've laid this upside down so I can show you what I'm talking about. There's a small hole right here, and that's a little stud right there. The stud is supposed to fit through the hole and hold this in place. And there's also a notch right here, and that notch has to line up with this. So normally it's fitted together like this, and if you take it out, they should come out together. So how am I going to fix this? For one, I know the stud where it fits into the hole here, this is stripped. So I'm going to drill this out and make it bigger so I can put a larger screw in there. I'll probably put a 1/4 inch diameter screw in there. So this hole will have to be drilled out for a 1/4 inch. And at the same time, I'll have to drill this out for a 1/4 inch as well. So I can put a 1/4 inch stainless steel from this side all the way through. And when this is in place, I'll have a nut right here, a lock nut, to hold this in place. Now when these are separate like this, or if they're not fully connected in, that leaves a gap right here and right here. And in that gap is a small area where all the small particles can come back and go right back into the discharge going out to the pool. So what you filter in, the smaller pieces can come right back into the pool, and that's what's plugging up the little strainer in the wall there at the Polaris connection. With a pair of vice grips, I'll remove the stud. It just screws out. Then instead of drilling the hole a 1/4 inch like I said I would do, I drilled it with a 3/16 bit so that a number 10 stainless steel screw, 2 inches long, would fit in there. And then I couldn't get lock nuts for it, so I put jam nuts in there and just locked it together. This white tube is what fits up inside the diffuser. I just want to make sure that it's in good shape. It's not broken or cracked or anything. That way it'll make a good smooth fit inside the diffuser with no leakage possible to not let any trash come through. to get the collar back on. All right, now I'll put the top back on. The top is the valve body. The only thing you have to check for is there's a little bump up right here, and there's a cutout right here. You make sure they're lined up so that when you put it in the filter position, it's in the filter position. Make sure everything is clean before you put it in, that you don't have any trash on it, because you don't want any leaks on this. Now it's spring loaded a little bit, but you need to make sure it's lined up before you put the screws in and tighten them down. Now when you put in the two Phillips heads, don't put them in real tight, just good and snug, because it's real easy to strip out the bottom piece. Matter of fact, I would save those two for last, so that you're not using those to pull this down, but just to hold it in place. And the hex head bolts, I would go ahead and tighten those up good and tight before I started to put the plastic screws in. One thing I think you need to really be careful about is when you go to tighten this down, you have to pull it down because there's a strong seal in there. All right, if you use these two screws to pull this part down, it's very easy to maybe strip out the plastic on the bottom right here. So if you're having a difficult time with it, or if it feels like it's getting too much tension, look at putting a clamp on the clamp to clamp these two pieces together, pull them down tight, and then just screw the screws in to hold it in place. Because if you don't get a full seal all the way around, a good flat seal, then when you're in the filter position, you may end up having some water still coming out the discharge and drain your pool down without realizing it. Well, it's all good now. No drips, no runs, no errors.